Hello and welcome to Generation Logistics Season 3. This season, we're going to be looking at myth busting. I'm your host, Ed, and the first myth we're going to take a look at is that AI will replace logistics sector. I'm joined by Dan, Brittany, and Empress. Hello, everyone. Great to have you with us. So can we just start with a little bit of an intro with you guys and what you do? Start down this end.
My name's Brittany. I'm a customer experience manager at Maersk, and I've been with the group for coming up to 10 years next year.
Awesome.
Morning, I'm Dan. I'm a transformation manager at Asda, and I've been with the company 10 years.
And I'm Empress. I'm a degree apprentice at Wincanton. I'm in my second year at Signia at Northampton.
Thank you all for joining us. For our viewers at home, can you give me an overview of what you do day to day in your roles? Brittany, can I start with you?
Yep. So I work in customer service in our supply chain management department. So I manage a team of 10 people, and we all look after some key clients within the UK and Ireland. So it's about managing their end-to-end shipments, being the first point of contact, reporting back with a lot of data, how they are performing, how we can strategically work together to add value to their business, and support them where they need us day to day.
Fabulous. Thank you. Dan?
So I'm a transformation manager for Asda's logistics services, specifically focusing in their non-food network. So working across the non-food depots that we've got, looking for opportunities to improve efficiency, throughput, optimization, working with the teams on those sites that any ideas they may have and how we're going to execute projects that will ultimately help drive that efficiency and improve the operation and get us to the overall targets the next few years.
I love that. And Empress?
As a degree apprentice, I have a few different roles, so there's always something new and I'm always changing what I'm doing. But right now I'm a project manager for one of our 14 contracts on site, but I'm just doing one of them, luckily. But I'm enjoying it so far, and it's the first team that I'm managing, so it's quite nice to be in a role where I get to oversee a few different roles, and I also just like feeling helpful. So I'm enjoying it so far, and I also do a lot of entry talent scouting, so I end up going to careers fairs, so I do end up travelling quite a bit to try and advertise why people should join Wincanton and what sort of entry talent roles we offer. So it's been great.
That's brilliant. Thank you all for that insight and for joining us today with your expertise. If you at home want to learn more about careers in logistics, do check out Not Going to Uni's website and Generation Logistics. Let's start with the big question. Why do you think there's so much fear around AI replacing jobs within logistics? Dan, can I start with you?
I think a lot of it is media driven, to be honest. I think the only coverage AI tends to get through media tends to be quite a negative or scaremongery type. You don't really hear about the success stories, which we see quite a lot in our industry as well, and we're experiencing every day more and more. So I think a lot of it is just the exposure that people get. If you're not working in that industry, you're only ever hearing about the negatives and where jobs might have been replaced, but you don't hear about what jobs were created out of the back of that because of the changes. So I think that's probably a key driver of it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's great to hear that there are opportunities coming out of AI as well. I really love that. Can I ask what sort of misconceptions exist around AI and automation within this sector? Open to the floor on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think following on, I think it's, fear of change. I think it's, about education and misunderstanding within people. We probably think of it in a really broad term, and we don't necessarily think what it can do to help us. We think it's here, to hinder us, and that's not the case whatsoever.
I would definitely echo that it's not here to replace us, it's here to assist us and just make sure that we're running operations smoothly. It's not really replacing as many jobs as people think. It's just switching how you might operate in that job role. So you're doing less mundane tasks and doing more critical thinking and applying that into your role.
That actually sounds quite exciting in itself. It's sort of evolving as it goes. I really like that. So you've mentioned there a couple of times, it's come to support your roles at the moment. Can I just ask, how is AI currently being used in logistics? What sort of tasks is it being used to improve? Dan, let's jump to you.
Yeah, well, the example I see at Asda is more from a ergonomic and health and safety side of things. So from a goods to person picking point of view, which is an example I work quite closely with, the products are now being brought to a colleague. It reduces the amount of travel distance that you're doing per shift. So it's reducing some of that fatigue that colleagues experience. It can be used to organise where products are placed and try and place things more at waist to chest height, so you're doing less bending, less stretching. So from a health and safety point of view, that's an example where it can really benefit people in their day-to-day roles as well.
I like that. I would never have thought of that impacting people's physical wellness as well as sort of helping with the logistics side as well. That's brilliant. And what about in your businesses?
I'd suppose to give a different example, I'd say it helps with the admin side of things. So again, when you approach a meeting, one of the main tasks you'd have to do is, have a minute taker and make sure that someone's present to be kind of a little bit outside of the meeting. With the use of AI, we can have everyone present and that be done in the background and have a summary of what's happened after the fact. So those menial tasks where you've got 4 people involved, 1 person not participating, you've got everyone's full attention and engagement.
I love that. I know that in past life, when I've had to take minutes before, I'm not really listening to the conversation. I'm just typing away, trying to keep up with that. So I guess then, as you say, you get everybody involved. So everyone gets to use their brain to full capacity. I really love that. And is there any examples that you've got?
Oh, yes. So at Wincanton, we have 2 e-fulfillment sites that I've been to. And at the web, we're using in warehousing. So for our systems and just making sure that we know how to capacity plan and make sure that we're also forecasting any times we might run out of stock. We also use it in transport as well, where we use satellite images to kind of map out roads so that before we send a trailer out, that we know the size of trailer that we can use. So that way we can optimize how much stock we're actually traveling and bringing to all these different locations. But we obviously want to use a bigger vehicle, so we're not using as many vehicles, but we don't want it to be too big that we can't even deliver the actual packages.
That's amazing. So in effect there, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're being able to look at not only the cost saving, but also the environment there, that sustainability and how many trucks you're putting on the road?
Yeah, so another thing is that AI is helping us to be more sustainable. So it's just a win-win situation.
I really like that. So it really is supporting, as Dan mentioned, it's supporting physical wellness of employees in the warehouse right down to that environmental side as well. That's brilliant. I love that. So we've looked at a lot of ways that AI is being used in logistics. How is AI seen as a tool to enhance jobs within the logistics sector rather than just replacing them? Empress, can I start with you?
Yeah, so we use a lot more critical thinking as employees when we don't have to rely on doing so much mundane tasks such as data entry. We just get to focus on how we use that data and make sure that we're applying it to operations to make it a lot more efficient. So I do think that it gives us a bit more room to use our research and use the research that AI can bring to us, and then think about how we can analyze that, evaluate it, see what recommendations we can make to improve efficiency, and also kind of sort through some disparities between what AI is showing us or telling us and where we want to be.
I love that. So it's actually enhancing each person's job rather than replacing them. So it is giving you extra tools. That is brilliant. Brittany, can I ask you the same question, please?
Yeah, I suppose that's the biggest benefit in my eyes is, if you have a task to do that could take 60 minutes, but the critical part of it is 10. Why would you want to spend all that time doing the 50-minute work? It's there to take that burden away from you. That the end product has still got your control, it's still got your stamp of approval, but you don't have to do all that unnecessary legwork. It just leans it out and allows you to focus on what the value is from the task that you're doing.
Yeah, I love that. And Dan, do you have any further insights on this?
It's very much the same. Obviously, one of the key time consumers across most roles in logistics is the analysis side, deep diving into data, and the fact that it can take that away from the role allows you to get to result quicker, helping to reduce operational costs, speed up efficiency, and ultimately benefit the customer as well at the end of that. So it's just removing that task in between.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously, Dan, as you just mentioned, by cutting down that time and making people more effective, it ultimately affects the end consumer as well, which I'd never really thought about. So that's a brilliant point. Thank you. So we've mentioned it a little bit as we've gone through, but can you just clarify how AI helps workers become more efficient to make better decisions in their day-to-day roles? Brittany, let's start down here.
Yeah, sure. So I suppose in the role that I work in, my team obviously have to respond to customers. They have questions. A lot of those questions may be repetitive. So the AI tool assists kind of leveraging all of the past experiences and then finding a decision that would be, it would take someone a lot longer, to think about, oh, what did we do last time? How did we resolve that? It's gone and it's found it for you. And then you're able to serve the customer a lot faster. So I'd say that's maybe one of the parts of it in customer service, at
That's
least.
amazing. So if I've got that right, you're keeping the AI tool is keeping a track of your processes in terms of customer experience so that you give consistency to the customer.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's all about data in, isn't it? So the more that we feed it, the more accurate it becomes. Across our business, we will have similar tasks, but they might not be the same. It will find those similarities and it will produce the solution that you need to give to the customer.
I love that. And Dan at Asda, same question to you in terms of how this has made work more efficient and in day-to-day work.
Yeah, so thinking again of how it affects my role. So one of our key targets is to improve efficiency and throughput and optimization through the use of autonomous mobile robots, or AMRs, that we've integrated within our system. We use those to bring the product to a person. So where we had inactive time before, where colleagues are traveling the floor, going between pick walks and pick distances, that's inactive and we're not getting any efficiency out of that. The robots are now bringing the product to the colleague, so it helps the colleague from a fatigue point of view, but also benefits us because we're getting a better efficiency, better pick rate out of that, and the system's making all of the decision about how to flow the product to the colleague in the right way and the most efficient, so using that AI learning there as well.
That sounds really cool. And if I can, just for a second, deep dive on that, because for those at home who might not know about this, you've actually got AI-controlled robots actually doing that movement of stock?
So everybody has a follow-up question, don't worry. So yeah, it is really exciting, and we've seen a massive efficiency through the throughput that we get out of using this system. So we've got 320 robots that in effect pick up a shelf, bring the product to the colleague, and the colleague can just remain in their station. The shelf presents itself to the colleague and they can just pick the product to put it into a customer's order. So it just removes all of that inactive time in between pick distances.
Wow, that's like sci-fi realness. I love that.
Very fun to watch.
And it must be very exciting for people entering into this career. And if you are looking for a career within logistics, you can always check out Not Going to Uni's website and Generation Logistics as well. Can you share some examples of where AI has led to the creation of new roles within logistics? Empress, let's start with you.
Yeah, so AI has brought in a few new roles, such as being an AI manager, where you're kind of overseeing how we use AI into our systems and integrate it with our day-to-day operations, and where we can apply it to new places that we haven't really thought of before. And also making sure that we're using AI ethically. So there's a head of AI ethics as well. So that way you can make sure that we're using it in the best way possible. We're not causing any distress for our customers. So I think there's loads of new roles that are coming in with AI. We don't have too many right now, but they are emerging as we speak, and a few other companies are doing it. So before you know it, Wincanton's also going to be employing a few more people into AI roles. Currently, we're already investing in more software engineers because that's really, really helpful when it comes to interacting with AI, and software developers as well are really, really important.
I love that. And that's great to see how we are focusing on the myth that AI is replacing logistics jobs. And here we can see firsthand how more roles are being created. I love that AI ethics operator. And then you've got software engineers as well. So a whole plethora of roles coming through. That's brilliant to see. Brittany, in your experience, do you see any new roles coming off the back of AI?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like what you've just said there, it's about value, isn't it? So it's about, we're heading into a boom. We're probably scratching the surface of what we need to with AI. And, like any transformation, we need people at the helm to lead it. So there's going to be a change curve. There's going to be training. There's going to be, as Empress says, there's ethical obligations, and we need people to focus on those. So yeah, I think there is going to be a lot more that opens up within the industry collectively. And you'll start seeing the word analyst being thrown around, because that's what we need people to be. We need people to be analytical, to be able to use AI, roll it out, and actually give people the understanding of what AI is.
That makes perfect sense. I love that. So, thinking about that, which aspects of logistics are going to continue to rely heavily on human decision making and will likely be unaffected despite the advancements in AI? Brittany, can I start with you?
Yeah. Relationships. I mean, I am customer service, so I am biased in that respect. But people like people, people trust people. And again, we have AI as a tool to enhance and to inform us. But those core relationships, that can never be replaced. You being in front of someone, being visible, being present, having human emotions, all of those things, that's what people connect to. So I think those attributes people will always need to have, and also critical thinking. When there's decisions that have really high stakes, there still needs someone to be responsible for that, so a human will always need to sign off on those.
I love that. And you're right, there is a lot of emotion in these decisions, particularly customer service, but I'm sure in all areas of logistics. And I think it's fair to say there are a lot of people out there who might be a bit afraid of AI and would like that human interaction. So it's good to know that that will continue at the core. Empress, do you have any thoughts on this area?
I definitely agree with Bethany on the point of relationships, because as a third-party logistics provider, we do rely on our customers just wanting to work with us, essentially. So if they're not really comfortable with us or how we represent ourselves or the people that they're meeting face to face, even from how our truck and delivery drivers are going to be the first people that are interacting with customers in person. So there is a lot of personal relationships and connections that you have to be able to make and make sure that you're actually creating a good reputation for yourself. Whereas AI won't really, we would lose that if AI was going to take that over. So we would always need people to hold those relationships and networks and connections. And without those, as a 3PL, we probably wouldn't have as many customers as we have now.
So we've talked a little bit about those human interaction moments. Could we talk about situations where human intuition or the experience is essential, even in place of AI? Dan, do you have any thoughts on that?
It's a bit of an extreme one, but during emergency situations where it's not something that would be where you can use the AI learning and historical thinking, it needs that human intuition and immediate thinking. I think that's maybe an extreme example, but a good example of where.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these situations arise in warehouses or in every place of work. So definitely something where you want a person dealing with it rather than automation. Definitely. Brittany, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. I think AI is brilliant at being predictive. It's brilliant at tracking trends. It's brilliant at basing decisions and solutions based on past, data. But if you don't have that data, you have no decision. So that's when the intuition of a human, you'll be able to kick in your critical thinking. And you may have not even posed this situation before, but an instinct will hit you and you'll be able to, get to a solution.
Yeah, fantastic. And Empress, same question to you.
Yep, as of right now, there's not as much research that there's not that much research that AI can actually use to apply to different situations. So right now we do need people's knowledge and experience and skills to be able to apply it into everyday situations. So again, you really do need that human intuition to be able to just be flexible with whatever situation you're put into.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I guess the world isn't black and white. Emergencies aren't black and white. And this is where intuition and key skilled professionals like yourselves will come into your own and work alongside AI, which I love. So what kinds of roles do you think are AI proof? As in they won't be affected by AI, and why do you think that? Dan, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think we've had a good example of it. It's customer relations and networking and that management of relationships between companies and their customers. I think you're always going to want that human element of that one. You're always going to want to build that relationship and maintain it through human interaction rather than through AI.
Yeah.
And then training roles as well. Training roles would be one where, again, although I do think there'll be some examples where AI is able to do that, some training will always be better received when it's human to human.
Yes. No, I definitely would find myself trained better by another person that I can communicate with. So as you're showing there that there is a synergy that can be between the two, which I really like. Brittany, what about yourself?
I would agree. I'd be controversial and say that there probably isn't any aspect that wouldn't be, AI proof, just
Right.
because of the fact that there is so many efficiencies that you can find to support you, even in the smallest ways. And it doesn't, negate from, that person's role, and meaning that, it is completely AI proof. But like you just said, Dan, about customer experience, like we don't know where this will lead. It's transformative. It might not be the case for now, but that might not be forever. We make advancements every day, and that's what we always have to be looking for, that continuous improvement. So I think it would be naive to think of us that you wouldn't be impacted at any industry or any point of your life, to think that you wouldn't come in contact with AI.
That's a fabulous answer, and I do like that. And what we've learned so far is that although it might help advance, as you say, it's not necessarily going to replace. It's just an evolution
Yeah.
and a bit of a change. Empress, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree completely, actually. We don't really know where AI is going to go, and I think that's one of the fears that those people have. But I do look forward to it either way. But I do see that we do have a lot of visual AI now, so you never know, because we're very used to Teams calls, so you could just replace a Teams call with maybe an AI version of somebody. So that's always something that is a possibility, but there's still not as valuable as like human conversations where I stand anyways. And I do think that we do still need problem solvers and people that can think about complex situations, because AI can think of basic operations, but I feel like for a full operation, project management, software engineers, we still need those, and physical training for truck drivers. We're going to need physical training for loads of different things. So there's some things that you can't just learn on a computer screen or just do with AI. So
I'd probably add to it as well, from a hardware point of view, taking it away from software and that side of things. For equipment maintenance and things like that, there'll be benefits where you could possibly use AI to assist with it. But I think from a hardware point of view, equipment maintenance, that side of things, you're always going to need the human element of that, even if it's assisted by AI.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually hadn't thought outside of software there. So thank you for bringing that up. There's always going to be that element where we need, as you mentioned, software engineers, Empress, and then the physical, repairing that hardware and getting involved there. That's brilliant. So, big one. You guys are the experts here. What advice would you give to someone who's preparing for a career in logistics, given the growing role of AI? Brittany, let's start down with you.
I'd say be ready to embrace change. Be ready to go into a role that is undefined and find the positivity in that. I mean, I think that's really, really cool that you've got so much scope to be a part of something. That's going to be the next thing. People are going to talk about it. They're talking about it now, but when AI comes around, or when this got introduced, I was a part of it. I trailblazed this. I, was able to craft this tool that we use today. So really see all the opportunities, think outside of the box, and just don't have your mind closed to anything, because as we've discussed, there's no right or wrong answers yet. That's what you're here to find the right answer.
I love that. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Completely echo that. I'd say to embrace the change, be excited by the opportunities and a little bit of the unknown, the attention it's getting. There's so much potential, even just in the next couple of years, but it's kind of exciting to not know where it's going to go, but it's only leading to better and more advanced developments. So continuous learning, being open to the change and sort of embracing that, probably key essentials if you're going to be looking to come into this industry.
Amazing. It is really exciting. And Empress, what are your thoughts?
I'd say to acquire as many skills as possible, because you never know which job role might use more AI. So you just want to learn as many different roles as possible, HR, project management, as many different things as possible, so that way you can have transferable skills. So if you do end up switching job roles, then you'll be proficiently skilled in that sector and you can go straight in.
That's brilliant. Love that. Thank you. So what steps can people take to ensure that they stay relevant, competitive, and tech-driven within logistics sector and landscape? Dan, let's start off with you.
I think being adaptable, being flexible, being open to embracing the change that's just around the corner, being open to continuous learning, and looking forward to that and keeping your options open to everything that might come. We don't know exactly which avenue it's going to go down, so being open to that change allows you to be flexible and move as it shifts.
That's brilliant. Empress?
I'd say again for the continuous learning point, just know that your innovation is never finished. You're never going to stop innovating, because as soon as you stop growing, you're going to be left behind. As soon as you stop changing and trying new things and exploring the opportunities, you're probably going to be failing. And that's just the truth of it, because things are always moving forward. And what was revolutionary 50 years ago is very standard now. And now the AI is the revolutionary thing now. In 50 years, we never know what the new thing's going to be. So just making sure that you're prepared for the future, always thinking about different creative ways to use what you already have, because AI is already here, it's not going anywhere. So the best thing you can do is just embrace it and think of different ways to try and use it in the best way that you can.
Fabulous. And Brittany?
Yeah, I definitely echo what the guys have said. I mean, don't be complacent. Don't think that, you're going to approach this and all the answers will be there and we'll move on. It's an ever-moving needle, and keep up with that. Look at the trends, research, podcasts, social media, all of these things. What's the new thing? Where are we heading in tech? Digitalization, transformation, data savvy skills, all these core competencies. They're going to help you stay ahead of the curve, and then be involved in those conversations and projects that will come with all of those new skills.
So can I ask, has there been any new tech innovations whilst you've been working at your company, maybe the introduction of something within AI? How did you cope with that? And moreover, how did you feel? Brittany, let's start down here.
Yeah, I mean, at Maersk, we're constantly, looking for new things. And I suppose we are really, really good at change management. So we have a department, a learning and development department. We have a continuous improvement department who focus on what the task is, what it means, who we need involved, and what are the skills that people need to perform those tasks. From that, we have in-depth training plans. Now, I make it sound all rosy. I make it sound like people go, yeah, I'm going to join this training plan and I'm going to know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get started. No, obviously the human element comes in and people don't like change. So it's about bringing people along with it. And, we face that in everything we do. People come in with an open mind, but automatically you revert to what you know, and you go, this isn't Excel, this isn't what I know, surely we do it better as it is. And over time people start to see the benefit, and as you use it more and you roll it out more, you understand that there is a purpose to it. So yeah, we're constant. I don't even think I could narrow it down to one example, because it's in our blood, it's in our DNA that we do that every day in Maersk.
Yeah, I like that. Dan, have you got any examples?
Yes, very, very similarly. Asda, we're always looking to embrace change, drive innovation. So there's a few examples where we've integrated AI. Similarly, I wouldn't say it's always seamless, but it's always seen as an exciting opportunity. Everybody does get behind it, but it does require a lot of cross-functional working, a lot of collaboration and supporting cross-functionally as well, where you need to bring certain people on that journey. It's not smooth and it's not always landed perfectly first time, but it's again just embracing that change and allowing yourselves to be adaptable to it, and seeing it as an exciting opportunity rather than a blocker.
Yeah, I like that. And very often you can get people saying this is the way we've always done it, and change is scary, as you said. And you mentioned interestingly about cross-department working. Even that in itself can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. So I imagine there's a bit of fear in the integration of new processes. Would that be right?
Yes, and you get certain teams that embrace it more than others. So it's about selling the dream to people and bringing them on that journey and alleviating some of those fears and concerns as well. And learning together and being quick to, fail and learn from it and adapt and go again.
I love that. Fail together. That's brilliant. Empress, what about you?
Well, they did create the AR systems, so AI systems before I joined, but we did have some training that was paper, that we went to paperless instead. And I feel like we have had a lot of benefits from not having a person training all the time, because it does rack up to be quite costly with constant training, and something I can just do on a laptop. So it does make it more engaging as well, because I'll have imagery with the training. And I think that that's been a really big plus that I did get to see when I first joined.
Oh yeah, that's really great to see that transition. Again, that sustainability element coming in, moving paperless. Love to see that. And yeah, I suppose everybody learns very differently, don't they? So if you're learning remotely, you can actually learn at your own speed, rather than perhaps in a classroom setting. So this myth-busting episode is all about AI will replace logistics jobs. Now, off the bat, do you believe that to be true? Empress, let's start with you.
I disagree, but because of the simple fact that 96 million jobs have been introduced this year, that have all been created by AI. So while there has been some that have been lost, they've been displaced but replaced by more jobs. So essentially, we've gained a lot more from having AI here than when we didn't have AI. There's so many new roles, new opportunities, and just so many different things that we can't even imagine right now that are still growing and still coming into the job market as we speak. And just knowing that millions of jobs are being created by AI and they will continue to be created by AI is really inspiring. So fret not about losing your jobs, essentially.
I love that. That's really exciting as well to see how, yes, some jobs may have transformed or evolved, but actually overall the logistics sector is seeing that growth, and that's brilliant to see. Thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much for joining me, guys. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
Thank you for having us.
If you want to find out more about any of our myth-busting series, make sure to check them out at generationlogistics.org, and make sure to join us in future episodes. I look forward to seeing you there.